r/AskReddit by Redmond Dts. What is the weirdest thing you've seen a neighbor do? I saw my neighbor, who was also my 3rd grade teacher, sneaking around outside his own house. He put his back up against the wall, peeked around the corner, and then made a break for a tree which he then hid behind. He was hiding from his sprinkler. Pick up dog poo barehanded. It wasn't dry stuff either. My grown male neighbor would put a bucket on the front lawn, go back inside, run out full force, and kick the bucket and say, "I kicked the bucket once a day for a whole summer." Sounds like a fun dude. That is extremely odd. Not weirdest, but dumbest. He tied a ladder to a branch that he was trying to cut off with a chainsaw. I don't know what his reasoning was, but how he managed to fall while holding a chainsaw and escape completely unscathed is beyond me. Either he's an idiot or he wants his family to get that life insurance. Come into my backyard up to my back door and try to sell me groceries at 10 p.m. This was in Milton, Florida. She needed some drug money. I told her to get the F out and never come back. Pumping in his garage while another neighbor's toddler was running with a kitchen knife into his own toddler's cardboard shield and stabbed it. I can safely assume their upbringing was far more dangerous and violent for this to be the norm. My neighbor's neighbor walks around in a robe or PJs talking to himself. He even mows the lawn that way. Pretty sure he smokes a ton of weed too. Neighbor kid did something that caused an entire SWAT team to come to his house and shoot either gas or something into the home. Unfortunately, I do not know the cause. This was a quiet family neighborhood. I woke up for a midnight snack to a fully swatted guy feet from my window. I took my snack to a decent viewing positing on the recliner. The van full of SWATs came a little later. Wash his car with the hose in between his legs. Used to date a girl whose best friend neighbor did a lot of meth. We'd look out of my ex's bedroom window at 2:30 in the morning and see her friend vacuuming her front lawn. Not a euphemism, I swear. Counterpoint, recovering meth addict here. When I was using, my neighbors would routinely invite huge groups of shadow people into their yards at night to stare at me. Really bizarre behavior, frankly. My neighbor's a loser, to be honest. He's a grown unemployed man that still lives with his mom. One time he knocked on my door saying he thought my dog was depressed. The dog always looked the way he did. He was just bored. Another time somebody called animal control on him abusing his dog and he knocked on my door thinking I called. Edit, I can't spell my bad. I was about to defend this guy cause mental health and whatnot, but when I read the dog part I immediately changed my mind. My neighbor wears the exact same dress every day and I've seen her in her underwear more than once because she walks around her side yard, faces our house, pulling up her dress to adjust herself. This is all completely visible to the street as well. Bonus story. When we moved in I tried to do the neighborly thing and introduce myself, say hi, but she didn't speak English. Turns out she was faking, because when her grandkids visit she speaks to them in fluent English. Go out of her way to yell at kids across the road at a park for playing dangerously. Turns around and trips over her own garden hose and shatters her elderly shoulder. Should have minded your own effing business, Dell. You gossipy bitch. And yes, I called the ambulance and waited with her until help arrived. I feel really guilty for laughing at that. While on a walk, I saw one neighbor peeing on another neighbor's fence. Pretty sure he was drunk. It wasn't even dark outside. Mow grass at 11 p.m. Mine would garden with a headlamp on. Our neighbors posted on social media that their dog had been stolen from their backyard. Seemed very upset about it. About a week later, I see them set their wooden doghouse on fire and burn it to the ground. Nearly burning a large tree down, as well. Their kids just running around in the dirt and smoke as the guy does this. We have no clue what that was about. Dump gallons of house paint down a storm drain. That's generally illegal as hell, and should be reported to your county's board of supervisors, or possibly called in as a non-emergency to your local constabulary office. Dude across the street thought his porch could use a solid 4-hour leaf blowing. Till about 10:30 p.m. Or the time the next door neighbor brought home a horse. I live in town, so small lots. Yeah, woke up to my cats freaked the hell out and couldn't figure out why until the sun came up a bit, and hot shot there's a horse in the neighbor's yard 15 feet from my window. Most recently, the neighbor across the alley sold his house but then decided to squat for about 2 weeks until the new owners showed up. Cops everywhere. Good times. My old neighbor used to give beer to her cat, cause she thought it was funny when it walked. And then let it out all the time. It'd get into cat fights and come back with huge holes, and Shed just ignored it. Only until another neighbor threatened to call animal cops on her she got it to the vet. But really, who sees their pet all bit up and just ignores? I lived on a cul-de-sac and was home from work one day with my main door open, screen door closed. A woman who lived in a building across from mine asked to use my phone and I agreed. She seemed a little off, but was otherwise pleasant and grateful. Later that day she was in a loud, prolonged screaming match with no one. All I really remember her saying was it's my fault for every single effing thing wrong in the world. Never saw or heard her again after that. The guy next door to us once showed up in a towel wanting to use our shower. We didn't even know his name. I technically didn't see it, but I'll share anyway. My roommate and I were both out of town for the night. Apparently, our upstairs neighbor left his dogs on the balcony while he went out, and they got loud. So some other neighbor put on a mask, so we were told later, climbed our patio wall to reach the dogs above, and sent them flying off the balcony. One died and one damaged a leg so bad that it was amputated. I'm not 100% sure their owner believed we weren't home and saw nothing, but whatever. I had an older lady who had a couple of cats as a neighbor a few years ago. She'd let them roam around town throughout the day and then almost every night, she'd be out walking around the block, screaming all their names, trying to round them up. In her underwear. Sometimes she'd at least have on a decent nightgown. Learned not to look out the windows whenever I heard her yelling. Dude would actually bury packs of cigarettes in his backyard, dig them up to get one to smoke, then bury the pack again. He lived alone. Had another one that would pretend to be on his phone and trading stocks whenever he heard me coming to answer the door when he'd knock. It was probably so I would think he was able to pay back any money that I absolutely never loaned his ass. Guy had a fight with his family and he ran out in what seemed like his wife's thong. A red thong. Nothing else. Just a thong. A thong. Cut their lawn and with a pair of scissors. A for effort. I was the weird neighbor, but my neighbor laughed her butt off. It was early morning, maybe 7 to 8 a.m. A dog from somewhere in the neighborhood would come into my yard to poo. Well, that morning, I see the dog through my front living room window, coming into my yard. I'm in my pajamas and big, furry, bunny slippers with big floppy ears. Now, keep in mind, I'm an old, 53, average height, 5'8", portly, got the belly, male. Yes, I have bunny slippers. They were a gag gift and were meant to be the Vorpal bunny from Monty Python and the Holy Grail movie. So, I see dog coming into my yard. I go out the door, walking towards the dog, shooing it out of my yard, bunny ears flopping, as my neighbor is outside in her driveway, think she got her mail, laughing her butt off watching me shooing this dog out of my yard. He chased a fox while he was barefoot and shirtless with a semi-automatic weapon. Same guy built a bonfire in his yard that the hose would not reach to put out. He had to use buckets. Lately he has calmed down. No more entertainment. That's all folks. Thank you for watching. Have a nice evening. Kitos.